Hello everyone, Lost isn't here at the moment but I can do the intro. What's that weird sound? Why can I feel my kidneys now?
Sorry about that. Thumby isn't allowed to do intros, and he knows.
My spine feels tingly.
Anyways, let's talk about This unassuming stone basin thingy hides a secret. You can find it at the entrance hall of Ballarat. It's the room with all the spider scorpions. Or sporpions. Now some people have no issues coating their weapons with oversized arachnid intestines, but I find the smell repulsive, so when I saw the tiny wave of non-bugs, my natural inclination was to use my superior knees to reach a level of elevation unattainable to the sporpions. However, Miyazaki the little scamp programmed this thing to jump scare us by falling apart whenever it gets hit by the sporpions. Now I won't lie, there was a thought at the back of my mind, buried beneath the hentai addiction and my desperate need for validation, that did suggest something like this would happen, but I still consider it pretty neat. Unlike most other random furniture, this stone basin cannot be destroyed by the player, despite the well-known fact that the furniture production in the lands between is about as solid as my fecal matter after eating Taco Bell. Say you want to jump on a table. Half of the time, you will splinter that table into a million tiny pieces simply because you hit it on the way up. Not so with this thingy. It's completely impervious to any player damage. So if we can't break it, why can the Sporpions break it? At first I thought that maybe their attacks work the same way as the rune bear attacks on those semi-broken statues that you can find, so I spawned a ton of Sporpions over at Stormwale to see if they can break this statue. 'Twas a hard no, so I went back to Ballarat and started spawning different enemies to see if they could destroy the stone thingy. And they did! Except for the skeleton. He had far too much respect for the cultural impact made by the master craftsmen of Ballarat to destroy such a significant piece of art. Unfortunately for the Tarnished, every legacy dungeon in Elden Ring has a no pet policy, meaning you can't take Torrent into any of them. Or so most people believe. There is actually a way of sneaking Torrent into Carrion Manor. Try to ride in normally and they will of course force you off the horse. I wrote that sentence in the script. But if you make your way through the dungeon until you get to the bridge part, take a left over here, you will eventually get to a place where Torrent is summonable. That being said, you are stuck on this bridge since if you move too far left or right, the game will take away your beloved steed. So it's not good for much, unless Torrent also doubles as your emotional support horse. Speaking of the horsey, how many of you have ever fed Torrent raisins? I bet a fair amount of people never saw this animation, since a sip of the Crimson Flask will heal both you and him, which greatly reduces the usefulness of healing raisins. However, they did add one more raisin item in the DLC in the form of spirit raisins, which does something different. According to the description, the spectral steed pushes back enemies when breaking into gallop. This item is impressively useless, which fun fact is exactly what my dad told me. It does the bare minimum of damage and is annoying to use since it's not a sustained effect, but rather activates when you push the button. The only scenario where this thing would be even remotely beneficial would be if you got yourself surrounded by enemies, which generally doesn't happen on horseback since you're so quick. Furthermore, the item would have to be in a quick access slot, and most non-lobotomized people would not waste such a valuable slot for something that can be avoided by using 0.3% of your brain. Quick question, are you playing as a male character but you're somewhat disappointed with your package? Well, you have a few options. You could sign up to my Patreon, that's the one I recommend, link down below, or you could use the old aristocrat shoes. You may not know this, but it comes with extra padding in the groin area.
Some people would feel humiliated when being used like this, but I'm just happy to be part of the video.
Shut up, zombie.
Okay.
Hyetta is that ride or die maiden. She will be completely committed to you as long as you agree to burn down all of existence. I can fix her. But there is something weird going on. How did she manage to get to the frenzied flame prescription before you? Did she do the jumping puzzle blind? She even got in before I managed to open up Morgoth's sealed door. I have no real answers, so I will ask you this. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much of a waifu would you consider Hyetta? Did you know certain armor pieces have hidden combos? Maybe you enjoy the faction knight armors but aren't a fan of the shield plate on the chest. Well, lucky for you, a few select headpieces can modify them. My favorite would be the Nox Monk hood on the Gelmer Knight armor. The armor does need to be in its altered form though, but that looks sick. Here are some others. Here's something useful for the early game. Did you know that Kenneth Haidt has a golden seed? You do have to murder him to get it, but that's just a bonus. Where did all the ships go in the lands between? Oh, there they are. According to the lore, after America got a restraining order with the divorce, Godfrey was forced to leave with his army. He basically took every ship available to him, and I don't blame him. But it does seem like some of these ships didn't quite make it that far. Or these are just random ships, who knows? I mean, it has been 1,000 years. That's a bit funky, isn't it? We were never meant to see these ships up close, so the textures of the ships are quite textless. I am so fun. And naturally, none of them have collision, so we can just walk straight through. Even so, I find it really cool that Miyazaki, probably personally, created an entire ship graveyard this far off the coast. So what's the story with these ships? Are they leaving or coming home? Seeing these, I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity that we never got a legacy dungeon where we go from broken ship to broken ship, picking up weapons from distant lands and killing enemies. I'd really like that. The final boss of the area could be the captain of a partially sunken warship. His boss weapon could be a hook fist weapon or maybe another anchor. There is actually another ship graveyard in the lands between / waters between. It's outside of Caelid. You can see it from Radahn's boss arena. It's comparatively small though, but it's another fun little area to explore. And speaking of fun, I was using Cheat Engine to fly around the continent to see if there was anything else interesting in the sea, and this happened. No idea why, but I lost almost all the color except for my pretty eyes and some bronze on my armor. It's weird. It's weird.
Hi everyone, Lost said I could do the outro, so remember to subscribe and watch another video. I was also wondering if you could give me a compliment. They make me feel good about myself, but Lost is so stingy with them. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching.